All right, take a breath with me for a moment. If you rely on SNAP benefits, or you help someone who does, chances are this month has felt a little uneasy. Not because you received a letter that clearly said your benefits are changing, but because something felt off. A balance that didn't stretch the same way, a notice that used vague language, a rule that seemed familiar but not quite the same as before. And that's exactly why this update matters, because what's changing with SNAP right now is not being announced loudly. There's no big press conference, no bold headline in your mailbox. Instead, it's a rule adjustment buried deep in fine print, and most people miss it until it affects their grocery cart. Today I want to walk you through this calmly, clearly, and without fear. No rumours, no panic. Just what the rule actually says, what it does not do, and what it means for you going forward. And I want to start with something important. Your SNAP benefits are not suddenly ending. There is no nationwide cancellation. There is no secret cutoff date hidden from the public. Payments are still being issued on schedule. Cards are still loading. But, and this matters, how eligibility, household calculations, and monthly benefit amounts are being interpreted has quietly shifted in a way that catches many people by surprise. Let's talk about why this moment feels emotional for so many households. For millions of seniors, disabled adults, caregivers, and working families, SNAP isn't extra money. It's not a bonus. It's what fills the gap when Social Security, SSI, SSDI, or part-time income simply doesn't keep up with food prices. Even a small change, $20 here, $30 there, can throw off an entire month. And that's why confusion spreads so fast. People start asking, did I do something wrong? Is this because of Medicare? Did my Social Security increase cancel something out? Am I about to lose my benefits? Most of the time, the answer is no. What's happening is more technical than dramatic, but it's still important. Here's the fine print rule most people missed. Over the past year, states have been instructed to apply stricter, more standardized income and household expense verification rules under existing federal SNAP guidelines. These rules already existed, but enforcement and interpretation are changing. In plain English, that means states are being told, apply the formula exactly as written, no rounding, no informal adjustments, no assumptions. That sounds harmless, but here's where it matters. SNAP benefits are calculated using a formula that looks at your countable income, your household size, your shelter costs, your medical expenses for seniors and disabled recipients, your utility allowances, and your net income after deductions. What changed is not the law, it's the way deductions and income thresholds are being applied. For example, certain deductions that were loosely applied before are now being verified more strictly. Let me give you a real-world example. Imagine you're a 68-year-old retiree. You receive $1,480 a month in Social Security. You pay $950 in rent. Your electric and heating costs average $180. You spend about $110 a month on out-of-pocket medical expenses. Under older, more flexible interpretations, your SNAP office may have accepted estimated medical costs or utility averages without requiring updated documentation every time. Now, many states are requiring current proof, and if documentation is missing, delayed, or slightly outdated, that deduction may not be counted for that month. That doesn't mean you're ineligible, but it can reduce your benefit temporarily until records are updated, and this is where people feel blindsided, because the notice doesn't say, your benefit is reduced because we need updated medical expense proof. It often says something like, based on updated calculations, your benefit amount has changed. That language feels cold and confusing. Now let's talk about what is not changing, because this matters just as much. SNAP is not being replaced. SNAP is not being merged with Social Security. There is no federal rule eliminating SNAP for seniors. There is no new work requirement for elderly or disabled recipients. There is no secret lifetime cap being rolled out. If you are over 60, disabled, or receiving SSI or SSDI, your exemption status remains intact. What's changing is how carefully states are matching paperwork to the formula. Now, let's talk about timing, because many people notice changes this month. SNAP benefits are issued based on state schedules, usually staggered across the month depending on your case number, last name, or Social Security number. This rule change does not alter payment dates. If you normally receive benefits on the 7th, the 12th, or the 18th, that stays the same. What can happen, though, is this. If your recertification or mid-year review happened recently, the new calculation rules may have been applied during that review, even if nothing else in your life changed. So, it feels sudden. Now let's address something else many of you asked about. Is this connected to COLA? Indirectly, yes, but not the way rumours online are suggesting. When Social Security or SSI gets a COLA increase, even a small one, that increase counts as income for SNAP purposes. At the same time, food prices, utilities and rent often rise faster than COLA. So people expect, my check went up, SNAP should stay the same. But SNAP formulas don't work on expectation, they work on math. Here's a simple example. Say your Social Security increased by $42 per month due to COLA, but your rent went up by $35, and your groceries went up by $60, and your electricity went up by $20. Your real-world budget is tighter, but SNAP only sees the $42 increase unless deductions are properly documented. That gap between expectation and calculation is what creates anxiety, and that's why paperwork matters more now than it did before. Now let's talk about who is most affected by this fine print change. The people most likely to notice an impact are seniors over 60 with medical expenses, disabled adults with fluctuating healthcare costs, households with variable utility bills, people with part-time or seasonal income, households going through recertification, people least affected, fixed income households with fully documented expenses, SSI-only recipients in states with automatic eligibility, households with no deductions beyond the standard ones. This isn't random, it's procedural. And here's the most important reassurance I want to give you. If your SNAP benefit decreased, that does not mean the decision is final. You have the right to ask for a breakdown of the calculation, submit updated expense documentation, request a fair hearing, correct missing or outdated information. Many reductions are reversible, but you have to know why it happened first. That's why the fine print matters. Most notices include a line that says something like, benefit amount adjusted based on updated household information. That's your cue to call or log in and ask, which deduction was not counted? Which number changed? What documentation do you need from me? Now let's address Medicare, because many seniors worry about that connection. Medicare premiums do not automatically cancel SNAP. But if your Medicare Part B premium is paid by a Medicare savings program, that amount may or may not count as an out-of-pocket medical expense, depending on how it's reported. Again, paperwork matters. If your medical expenses exceed the minimum threshold, often around $35 per month for seniors, they should be deducted, but only if they are properly recorded. Now let's talk about taxes briefly, because confusion spreads there too. SNAP benefits are not taxable income. They do not affect your tax return. They do not reduce your Social Security check. However, income used for SNAP calculations does come from taxable and non-taxable sources combined. So a small pension, cash assistance, or even irregular income can shift the formula. Now here's something many people don't realise. States are allowed flexibility in how aggressively they verify documentation within federal guidelines. That means one state may feel stricter than another. This is not favoritism, it's administration, and it explains why your neighbour's benefits didn't change, but yours did. Now let's talk about what you should do next, calmly, step by step. First, do not assume wrongdoing. Most SNAP adjustments are administrative. Second, read your notice carefully, even the fine print. Look for words like net income, deduction, or recertification. Third, gather documentation. Rent or mortgage statements, utility bills, medical receipts, insurance premiums, transportation to medical appointments if applicable. Fourth, contact your SNAP office or online portal and ask for a benefit explanation. You are not bothering them. This is your right. Fifth, if needed, request a fair hearing. Many decisions are adjusted once full information is reviewed. Now let me say something important for peace of mind. SNAP is still one of the strongest, most protected safety net programs in the country. Congress debates it constantly, but core eligibility for seniors and disabled adults remains intact. What we're seeing right now is not elimination, it's enforcement. And enforcement feels harsh when communication is poor. That's why updates like this matter. Before we wrap up, I want to address one last emotional concern I hear often. Am I being pushed off benefits quietly? No, but you are being asked, more than before, to prove the math behind your need. That's frustrating, it's tiring, and it's okay to feel upset about it. Just don't let confusion turn into fear. Your benefits are still arriving, your card is still valid, your eligibility is still recognized. This fine print rule doesn't take SNAP away. It changes how carefully the numbers are checked. Let me recap what matters most. There is no sudden SNAP cancellation. Payments are still on schedule. The change is about calculation enforcement. Documentation matters more now. Reductions are often temporary and fixable. You have rights and options. Stay informed, ask questions. And don't assume silence means the worst. If this explanation helped bring clarity, let me know. If you've experienced a change and want others to understand it too, share your experience in the comments. And if you want steady, calm updates like this, without panic, you're in the right place. Take care of yourself. And remember, you are not alone in this system, even when it feels confusing.